He joined the New York City Police Department in 1979 and was promoted from patrol officer to sergeant to lieutenant and then lieutenant commander of detectives. Before serving as commanding officer of 2 detective squads in the Bronx, he retired from the NYPD in 2000. After a distinguished career with more than 40 citations for notorious and conspicuous actions in the line of duty. In 2003, he became Chief of Detectives of the Baltimore Police Department, where he held executive command responsibilities for all detective operations, personal and administrative matters within the entire 3,200-member police department. He has since moved back to the Hudson Valley in the private sector as a senior security consultant for American Security Systems, Inc., a New York-based security firm, a position he holds while he still effectively represents his community. In 2005, he ran for and was elected to the county legislature in New City and Haverstraw, and was re-elected in 2007 and 2011 again. But his dedication to his community goes beyond politics. He has coached youth baseball, basketball, and football. And he reconstituted and served as president of the Little Tour Neighborhood Association and continues to serve on that board of directors. He created the PTA Child Personal Safety Course pilot project in the Clarkstown schools and has been honored as a lifetime member of the PTA, having served as co-president of the Clarkstown North Football Fourth Quarter Club. Wow, that's a mouthful. In 2003, he was recognized with the Rockland County Distinguished Service Award, and we are very pleased to have him here to speak with us today. Please join me in welcoming Rockland County Executive Ed Day.
I was sitting at the table and I said, maybe I should just walk out of the room and stop. She did such a good job. Anyway, I want to thank Ray Sheridan, who pulled me from the other side of the river today to be here for lunch, which was great. Thank you, Ray. But also, congratulations to Tony Guevara on his presidency, and Fran Scott also, and Donna Chiparero, who I met earlier, the chair lady for the committee. I was asked today to offer some comments on the Tappan Zee Bridge, the tolls, and also the scaffolding law. And I'm going to try to stick with that script and not be too long for you all. Just outside these walls, floating cranes and pile drivers are working the largest construction project in New York State history. State officials say the new Tappan Zee Bridge comes with a price tag of $3.9 billion. Unfortunately, state officials have not, so far, refused disclose how much that they already paid or what funds they're going to be using. It is clear to me where the money's going to come from. It's going to come from the drivers who will go over that bridge. And it's no secret, higher tolls will have an outsized impact upon our daily commuters. During a time when salaries are barely budging and gas prices are still high, paying water across this new span will take even larger chunks from our paychecks. Even the state's promise of variable toll pricing for regular users won't completely ease the pain. What's worse, we were originally promised that the cost of building the new bridge would be spread across the entire thruway system. Modest toll hikes from Buffalo to New York City. But now we're finding out that's not the case, or at least the executive director is saying so, quite contrary to what's being found out when documents are foiled. Further driving up the overall cost of the bridge construction is something we're all sensitive to here, New York State's unique scaffold law. This is a major issue that may not be as sexy as tolls, but is of special interest in this room and brings a necessary cost that many here are aware of. What is it? New York's scaffold law, labor law sections 240 and 241, hold property owners, employers, contractors absolutely liable for gravity-related injuries that happen on the job. That means there is virtually no defense from a lawsuit, even if the worker's gross negligence contributes to the accident. Even parties that have had no supervisory control over the work are held liable. Why is this law so unique? We describe this law as unique because New York is the only state that still has it on the books. And the scaffold law cost taxpayers about $785 million annually. That is a staggering number. Local governments pay higher costs for capital projects, such as the Tappan Zee Bridge, for example, whether the work is being done directly or through private contractors. I'll give you an example. Liability costs for one joint New York-New Jersey bridge project are more than double on the New York side than on the New Jersey side, approximately $22 million to $10 million. More than half of the top 30 settlements resulted from scaffold law claims, and of those, 25% were against public entities. We all bear that cost as taxpayers. The scaffold law is estimated to add $200 to $400 million in additional cost to the construction of the new Tappan Zee Bridge. The scaffold law, in fact, increases construction costs. The number of scaffold law cases have increased 500% since 1990, even though the rate of injury has decreased. New York's general liability insurance costs, the highest in the nation for construction, are directly correlated to the scaffold law, and the number of carriers that write general liability policies in New York is now declining. The scaffold law cost the private sector an estimated $1.49 billion annually. Now, this is New York's insurance crisis, and many in government in particular, don't understand this. The scaffold law losses have driven insurance losses through the roof, resulting in higher premiums, more coverage exemptions, and fewer carriers in the market. In short, New York's unique scaffold law has a tremendous impact on every aspect of the Tappan Zee Bridge project, and is critically important for insurance professionals such as yourselves to understand its unique legal and financial implications. Insurance companies are currently in a position where they cannot defend themselves against claims. Scaffold law should not impose absolute liability, yet it does, on property owners and contractors who should have a full and fair opportunity to defend these claims in court. It is critical that all of you hear what your new president said, that you advocate with your state representatives loudly, strongly. As one, to lobby to change this maybe well-intentioned but yet absurd piece of legislation. I also want to say something else. If anybody out there thinks I know that much about the scaffolding law as county executive, I have a bridge to sell you, not the Tappan Zee Bridge. I do want to acknowledge Donna Marie Beloy from Wilson Elsa, who was able to give me a lot of these tips today. Donna? She helped me a lot with the understanding of this law, and it was really eye-opening for me as an elected official. So I think it's important that you do advocate with your state representatives to get this changed. You know, just quickly back to tolls. It affects many of us here. While the governor's promise of a dialogue for the tolls in 2015 is a very positive sign, I'm still disappointed that both Rockland and Westchester residents, even Orange County residents, have been offered very little information on what the cost is going to be. And I will say this. A $14 toll on a Tappan Zee Bridge is completely unacceptable. From a Rockland's perspective, the Palisade Center Mall brings in about 20 to 25% of sales tax revenue in Rockland County. If I lived in Westchester County and I was contemplating shopping, I would probably stop at the bridge, see $14 and say, you know something, I'm going to make a left and go down to Ridge Hill. Why bother? There's a real impact when government makes decisions. They don't often see that, the impact upon consumers in the private sector. This is a critical Rockland economic issue that has not been adequately discussed on my end of the river. Clearly, for those who come across the bridge from the other side, the same thing. The one thing I'll ask you all to do, I'm sure most of you have heard, well, the George Washington Bridge is $13, $11 during off-peak. So, $13, $14 toll at Tappan Zee Bridge shouldn't be a big problem. It's an unfair comparison. It's apples and oranges. And I'm going to tell you why. The same with the bridges in the city. The city bridges are attached to the subway system. Much of the funds that are collected for the tolls go to the subways. The Port Authority bridges, you have real estate and an airport attached to the Port Authority. So there is no comparison. Besides which, at last I looked, there was only one of the bridges that went from Rockland to Westchester. The Bear Mountain Bridge. The toll, $1.50. Kind of hard to make a case for a $14 toll when the other bridge is $1.50. Most of the residents I know in Rockland go to Westchester County to work over the Tappan Zee. They're not going to New York City, which is the bridge the George Washington Bridge does. 94% of the Thruway Authority's operating funds comes from the tolls. And that's great, much unlike the other bridges. But we also support the New York State Canal System, a 524-mile waterway with your tolls. That's ridiculous. It's been criticized as far back by Governor Pataki and even the current controller. Said this was highly critical. This is not the way to fund things. This is what politicians do when they want to get more money into general funds so they can do what they need to do to get reelected. They take the responsibility and hide it someplace else, and what better than unsuspecting drivers? The economic development of our counties will be negligibly impacted by a $14 toll. That is just a fact. I often point out, who are here from Rockland County? Do you know they make gas better in Jersey? Yeah, it's better gas because people drive in droves to go down there to buy the gas. Oh, no, I'm wrong, I'm sorry. They go because the government makes it more expensive in New York. Because they believe by increasing taxes, they're going to make more money. I don't think so. I see a lot of New York plates, and I really challenge people, if you're just over the border in New Jersey, find me a New Jersey plate. You're not going to find one. They're all from New York. They're all getting ripped off, by the way, because the Jersey drivers are further south, where the price is 20 cents cheaper. You know, but these are the things that government has to understand. Government's actions has an effect, it has an impact on business, on people, on costs, outside of direct taxation. And that is the problem. So, you know, when you look at the scaffolding law, this is an issue that is critical because government really doesn't see the damage it's causing to the economy, the damage it's causing to project costs, the damage it's causing to your wallets, and the inability for you to do business in many ways. So, other than that, I don't want to go on too long because I'm sure the last thing we'll do is hear a politician speak for an hour. But if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. This means everybody's satisfied with their lunch. I love it. Anyway, I want to thank you for having me today. Thank you for getting me out of the office. I really enjoyed it.